Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.
Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. Today, I've got the good fortune to be joined by Andrew Morgans of Markenology.com, an Amazon brand accelerator taking the e-commerce world by storm. Andrew, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Now, you've got your fingers in a lot of pies. You've got a whole lot going on. Introducing you as only the founder of Markenology doesn't do you justice. So let's go back in time a little bit. How did you get started?
Okay. Kind of fell into this by accident. I think like a lot of people that have kind of found e-commerce, I've been helping brands for about 9 years. We'll start there. I'd been a professional musician, actually, going through school, touring, things like that. Got tired of being poor. Started using my degree in computer science at networking at NOC. Absolutely hated networking. I thought this is where IT people go to die. And I wanted to build things. I wanted to create, I wanted to make things better, whatever that looked like. And so I took a chance at a startup about 9 years ago. They put me in charge of putting car parts online, eBay and Amazon at the time.
Okay.
And we did over $1 million in sales that year on eBay and Amazon. I moved back to Kansas City. I went to Tampa for that job. So I moved back to Kansas City where I'm at right now. Took a job as an e-commerce manager. So kind of a little bit more official position. And then again, they'd hired me based on my Amazon experience. They were looking for that. So I came in, spent 2 years there, really learning what it looks like to be an e-commerce manager on the inside of a brand, dealing with map pricing and resellers and, the sales team that's not e-commerce, brick and mortar, and how do those things cross over, and brand protection, but also marketing and advertising, and really just kind of learned how the pieces of a bigger company work together. It's not like a startup where you can just do whatever you want, and so there's kind of a chain of command. And so being able to understand that really set me up to create Markenology. I had just started freelancing on the side, helping more brands on Amazon through like Upwork and Elance, some of those freelancer sites. And 6 years ago, I officially left the e-commerce company and launched Markenology. So I kind of just fell into it. I didn't expect to be like focused on Amazon or be an entrepreneur, a business owner. I was really just looking to kind of have a side hustle. And I just realized that a lot of brands need help on Amazon. Even 7-8 years ago, I was noticing that, so I went all in. I just kept getting good results with Amazon, started acquiring brands that were, they'd be like, hey, do you want to stick around, and help me on a monthly basis and help me with my Amazon channel? I was like, yes, of course. Gathered a couple of those, 5 or 10 or so, enough to pay my bills, and made the leap. And it's been a long journey from me, myself, and I to where I'm at today. There's a team of 14 now. And we have about 45 brands that we manage on an ongoing basis. We've worked with about 300. We became an Amazon advertising agency partner this year, January 1. So we got their kind of stamp of approval. And yeah, I mean, that's the Markenology story, but I also am the founder of Landlocked, an apparel company. It actually started 6 years ago as well. It was like really, it's been pivotal as a tool to kind of learn e-commerce from the other side instead of the agency side. and really kind of do it myself and try a lot of things and be able to do that with my own apparel brand. But I'm also a co-founder of AKC Co Properties, which is an Airbnb, traditional real estate investing company as well. So hands in a little bit of pots. Almost all of them center, at least my role in those, center around e-commerce. Even Airbnb is photos and copy and, automation online and booking online and things like that. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right. So that is fantastic. The longer version should probably be in a book somewhere if it isn't. So let's unpack some of that for our viewers and our listeners. Let's start with the Amazon side.
Okay.
So what are some of the biggest mistakes you're seeing companies making when trying to sell and be successful on Amazon?
Well, I think one of the ones that stands out to me, and this isn't a sales plug, this is just me being, who I am.
Yes, understood.
I think it's them trying to get someone to manage their Amazon that's not qualified, or that has, their hands in too many things. It's a separate channel. It's massive. It can be, I've seen it take over the focus of many of brands that I've worked with through the years, meaning it's nothing. They start paying attention to it. All of a sudden it's 25, 30, 40% of their business. And they're like, wow, this was just like, sitting here all the time. So I would think it'd be one, getting the wrong person in the job in their own, if, in-house, or like, not giving them the tools that they need. You need that person in-house, but you need expertise as well. So one would be just like having the wrong person in the job. Another thing would be, not investing enough in like photography and branding assets. A lot of times in e-commerce, if they haven't made money in something, they don't necessarily want to reinvest or invest in photography or graphic design or things like that, specifically for a new channel that hasn't really made them money yet. But it's super important to tell your story on those product pages. And that comes through like, high quality photos, graphics that have call to actions or that are explaining the project or educating customers when they're buying it. So it's kind of like almost like an investment, either an investment. I think brands are missing the opportunity to invest in human resources, the right expertise, or into branding elements specifically for Amazon or e-commerce.
All right. That makes a lot of sense. Who is an ideal client for you? What types of brands what types of businesses are you working with on Amazon?
Well, through the years, it's been all types. I've worked with, Marvel, Adidas, or Adidas, as they say in Europe, but Adidas here. We've worked with Faultless Starch, which is a 200-plus-year-old company here in Kansas City, a stable company, food brands, all kinds of brands. We've worked with over 300. So you can imagine there's been a wide variety. The gamut. Yeah, there's a wide variety. I would say more so like now 2020, 2021 moving forward, we're really looking for brands that they've already created a brand, at least at this point. We're not like, I'm not trying to help them create something from scratch. And, they've got packaging, they've got a product, they're selling somewhere. We do launches. It's just less of what we do, and more so looking for companies that, are at $1 million in revenue, 500,000 in revenue, at least some like in some other channel. So we're not starting from scratch whenever we reach Amazon, but, I would say most of our clients, if I had to choose, are under that 10 million mark, 10 million a year.
And is there a particular industry or particular type that you enjoy working with the most?
Well, during a pandemic year, it's been the food brands. They're essential. Everyone's shopping online, buying, online. And so we're really able to take some of our smaller food brands, like, local companies. We have companies from Canada, companies all over the US, really, but helping them just get national exposure and really, really, really grow during this year. So the food brands have been fun this year.
Now, are you working on the organic Amazon side, optimizing listings? You talked about telling a story. You talked about the art. Are you working on the paid Amazon advertising platform? Are you doing both? Talk a little bit about the mix there.
Yeah, good question. They're both needed. We do both. We're an Amazon advertising partner with Amazon. So that's how we got our partnership, is on the ad side. But you got to think of it like this a little bit, like advertising should only be used after the listings are completely optimized. So
because why drive traffic to a leaky bucket?
Exactly. It needs to have the right keywords. It needs to be, needs to have good photos, and it doesn't have to be perfect. But, optimized to a certain level, let's say at least B plus, before you start ads. I see so many companies, so many people just start pushing ads and saying it's not working, when they don't have a listing that's at least sellable.
That makes a lot of sense. What are some of the biggest challenges you've overcome when, I mean, is Amazon like Facebook advertising? Do they shut you down with no warning? Do you all of a sudden have competition that you didn't have before because they decide to offer your product? I mean, what are some of the issues that you've helped clients overcome there?
Yeah, there's that's a great question as well. There's so many. Honestly, it's like it's a platform full of problems. The issue is, or like I guess the silver lining is that there's a lot of sales on the other side of those issues. We help brands transition from vendor central to seller central, which is like that wholesale relationship. They're transitioning from that model to direct to consumer. We help them, understand map pricing and how to enforce that brand protection, like you said, like how to identify resellers, how to set up a reseller agreement that's strong, how to battle counterfeit if that's an issue. Competitors are going to do what competitors do. It's about tracking them, knowing what they're doing, and then adjusting to that. So Amazon has suspensions, that'll come up out of nowhere. That's been probably the biggest nightmare in the last 9 years of me doing this, is just getting in trouble with Amazon. So a lot of our time and energy is spent around not getting in trouble. And so we're a white hat agency. I know how to battle with the black hat, right? Or, at least the gray hat. We want to know those things, but it's very much about what does Amazon want from us as a seller, as a brand, and how can we guide our brands that we're working with to stay out of trouble, walk that line and ultimately provide listings and a business that Amazon rewards. Because if you do those things right, Amazon does reward your program.
That makes a lot of sense. Your passion's obvious. What do you like best about what you do?
I like helping people. I'm a fourth generation missionary kid. I grew up in Africa. I think it's in my blood. I just enjoy helping people. And there's nothing wrong with me winning as well. So win-wins. I love that what we do is a win-win. I get to build and do what I love, and get to help brands realize their true potential on the platform and what is 2020 in business. I would like to think that we've saved businesses. We've definitely grown them. We've seen them hire and, continue to grow. And 1 minute I'm talking to the founder, the next minute I'm 3 removed, because they've been growing. So yeah, I love that. I love that it's kind of the Wild West. There isn't really like a gatekeeper, outside of Amazon, I guess, but there isn't really a gatekeeper that's saying, okay, now you can play in this space, or, now you can innovate, or now you can try new things, or you're not a big enough agency to play here. So I love that about, what we do, and being kind of a trailblazer.
You've not only helped companies grow enough to create more jobs, you've also done it yourself. Talk a little bit about the team you've now got behind you.
Well, thank you. The team is everything. I work with a couple of my sisters. So they were paramount in helping me scale in the early days, just buying all into my dream. And, they were working way harder than they were getting paid. And I think that's one of the, the things that most companies don't have. And an issue they have when they're scaling is like, well, how can I pay these people? And I don't have it to go. And, I can't, pay out from this when there's nothing. And I really need 60 hours out of them when they're, I'm only paying them for 40 or, so they were paramount in getting me scaled in the early days. But we've brought in talent in, from Colorado now, Oklahoma, as far as young people just passionate about Amazon and marketing. There's 14 of us. So we've got a photography team, content team, advertising team, account managers, just behind the scenes, like tech, like with the data feeds and stuff like that. So the way we build out Marknology is, I was realizing as a consultant, I could be living in Bali somewhere by myself, like working on a couple brands, right? But that's just not my style. I enjoy my people. I enjoy tribe. I enjoy, having a team I work with. And to be an expert truly at Amazon and continue to be, it's just moving too fast. I needed a team that someone could be learning everything there is to know about photography, everything there is to know about, feedback emails and reviews, and everything there is to know about content. And so we've kind of built the team that way, that we have kind of some leads that are leading the way. And we just try to stay up to date on everything we can and share that. And yeah, it's awesome. Couldn't do it without them.
Now, you talked about seeing what's coming because Amazon is evolving and online marketing as a whole, digital is changing every single day. How do you stay on top of the curve? How do you kind of predict the future and see where the puck is going?
Well, I spend a lot of my time talking. Okay. I'm not always the guest. I'm a host on Startup Hustle, my podcast. And so I'm getting to talk to a lot of industry leaders and, kind of pick their brains and see what's going on. So trying to stay in the know in that way. As an Amazon partner, an agency partner, we get a lot of up-to-date information, trainings, modules, webinars, early access to betas. So Amazon's doing a good job of keeping us informed and trained. As well as just working with 40 to 50 brands. They're all dealing with different problems all the time. Okay. So as we kind of problem solve those across a wide variety of categories and products, I think it allows us to come into contact with more problems that essentially, working through those problems is how you stay ahead of the game.
Absolutely. With all the success you've achieved now, what's your biggest challenge?
People, probably. So as a entrepreneur, when the team is small, communication is easier. Keeping talent is easier. There's some big stuff that happened in the Amazon world, in the agency world this year with Thrasio.io, IPOing for $1 billion, and a few other really big things. So there's been a lot of hype around what we do. And so there's a lot of agencies with a lot of funding. I'm a bootstrap company. So there's a lot of agencies with a lot of funding right now that are taking talent, poaching talent. So for me as a small company to be able to attract good talent, keep my people, train them, and essentially continue to provide value to our clients is my number one priority. So how do I turn into a leader, a better leader? How do I learn to manage better? How do we communicate better internally? It's all around people. So yeah, that's my focus for sure.
That is awesome. Who do you look up to? Who do you follow? Who inspires you and gets you excited?
Well, I think it's if I can call them the little people that inspire me, the little people that I follow on Instagram, that engage with me in my stories. When they share their stories, it's the everyday kind of person that really inspires me. I'll be honest. Kind of when the odds are against you and people do awesome things, but at a higher level, I have a mentor named Matt DeCourcy, really big impact in my life in regards to how I think about business. I'm kind of like, put your shoulder to the plow and just work it out kind of person. And he's really, more of think how to do this smarter kind of person. And so it's a really good counterbalance for me. He's the host of the Startup Hustle, the original creator, as well as the founder of Fullscale.io. Another one would be like Gary Vee. Honestly, before I had a real mentor, before I had someone in person, I felt like I was in this Amazon space all by myself. There weren't agencies, there weren't conferences, there weren't webinars, there wasn't anything. I'll be honest. And, so I have a couple of masterminds, like Facebook groups I'm in where we chatter a little bit, but definitely felt like I was on an island in the early days. And Gary Vee is someone that was an immigrant as well. I'm not an immigrant, I'm American, but I was raised in Africa till I was 16. So like coming back felt very much like that and adapting to culture here and things. Bootstrapped, worked with his family, built a family business, did on YouTube what I'm doing on Amazon, where he learned, he learned YouTube for his dad's company and then turned into an agency where he's helping people with YouTube and content. And in the same way, I was working for a company doing Amazon, and now I'm building an agency around that. So you can see some of the similarities in being able to follow someone that's, such a leader in this space. And another thing I would say is I think I related to him so much because he's just himself. And to be a businessman, to curse or like be who you want to be and be positive and say, do the right thing in a business world that to me is oftentimes corrupt or a little sketchy or, it was just encouraging to see a leader kind of speak in that way and, be a forerunner and still do it his way and kind of led the way for me.
Awesome. That makes a lot of sense. And he's somebody we look up to as well. We know your time is incredibly valuable. We appreciate you spending some time with us. Anything you want to share that I didn't think to ask you?
No, I guess I would just say, to anyone listening, I'm just a normal guy that built a company, just trying to pay my bills and, like get ahead of debt. And you never know what you're capable of until you take a leap, and just, so it starts with believing in yourself and then just trying something you haven't tried before. And I think it's not about knowing all the details of your plan. It's about having, a small plan that's to take a step forward and then doing that and seeing what happens, and good things come to good people.
That is awesome advice. Quite inspirational. Where can our audience go to learn more about you and everything you're doing?
Well, you can find us company-wise at marknology.com. It's a little bit more fun to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. We're all over social media, at Andrew Morgans on Instagram for myself personally, Marknology, at Marknology as well on Instagram. Would love to chat with anybody that listens to the show. Just say hello. Social media, definitely the easiest way to get in contact with me.
Awesome. This has been Seth Greene for Sharkpreneur with Andrew Morgans from Marknology.com. Andrew, thanks so much.
Thanks, Seth. See you later.
Thanks, everybody, for watching or listening. We'll see you next time.
Do you need money to fund your idea, product, or service? Are you ready to take your business to the next level but need capital to get it done? Kevin Harrington has heard more than 50,000 pitches and knows how to help you make the perfect pitch to get the funding for your entrepreneurial dream. He's distilled the process down in his perfect pitch cheat sheet, and it's yours for free. Just text PITCH to him right now at 727-888-2100. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free perfect pitch cheat sheet. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 to start funding your dream today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.